Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kristen with Monarch Plans, and today I'm going to be talking about goals. So I didn't get to post a video at the beginning of the year about my 2023 goals. Quite honestly, if you haven't watched some of my videos that I posted recently, I just haven't been posting a lot in general in terms of YouTube, Instagram, anything like that, outside of posting some things about my new releases for my shop. Mostly just because I definitely was in like a little bit of a weird mental state the first 3 or so months of the year, and I just wasn't focused on getting out content. I was just kind of a little bit more negative those first 3 months. If you're more interested in that discussion, I will put a link to a video I did that's kind of like a catch up and a flip through of the first quarter of the year that I posted a couple weeks ago. But I want to talk a little bit about goals, mostly because I didn't get to at the beginning of the year, and I wanted to talk about what my goals are for the next quarter at least, but also kind of introduce you to what my goals, I guess, overall have been for 2023. Already things have changed in the year, which happens every single year. I always set goals at the very beginning, and then inevitably things change, so it's always time to revisit them. I usually try to do it at the quarter. Sometimes it's a little bit sooner than that, but I refreshed for quarter 2, and we are definitely kind of working towards some of those goals currently. So I figured what I would do is I'm going to start by talking about some of my annual goals that I set at the very beginning of the year, and then move into kind of where I'm at this most recent quarter when I did my quarterly compass. And then like what some of my goals are going forward, especially for the month of May. So I am using the MakseLife planner. I don't use this in terms of like putting stickers and everything in it. It's really just kind of like an overarching goal planner. I do plan a few things in here like in the weeks. So sometimes I'll like pre-plan things in here. If I know I'm going to be putting down stickers or filming or something like that, I at least like to have an overview of what I'm going to be doing in the video or in my like pretty spread. So I use this, just kind of jot down things that I think I have to do, little to-do list items that I know have to fall on certain days. And so I've really been using this for the entire year, but it just isn't something that's front and center in any of my content. So that's why you probably haven't seen it recently, if you've looked like on my Instagram or anything like that. So all that to say, I've been using this, and I am using the goal setting system in here a lot more this year than I have previously. I think I previously would set some goals in the beginning, and then I wouldn't really kind of like look at the annual goals again. I would adjust things a little bit, but it was never really consistent for me. So I'm trying to be a lot more consistent with this year in terms of doing quarterly updates and actually doing monthly goals. So what I've noticed is MakseLife divides goals into 8 categories. So I have those 2 pages here that outline my annual goals. I found that these 4 goals on this spread, so personal, fun and recreation, work and learning, and family and relationships, these categories are all pretty good, and I don't really focus on improving these at all. All my improving and like work goes into these categories over here. So in general, personal, I just want to increase my positivity and confidence, which is really ironic because that was kind of like my downfall the last few months. I wasn't being very positive or confident. I just didn't have a lot of, I guess, positive thoughts about like creating content, sticker shop stuff, all of that. So irony at its finest, but I am definitely working on it. And it's just not something that has like super defined actionable items in my mind. So I really keep it in the back of my mind, and it does get worked on, but it's not something where like it's front and center where I say like I really need to be working on these things specifically. So annual goal, personal, just increasing like my self-understanding, my mental health, all of that stuff. I am part of like Club Moxie, so I'll dabble in that stuff sometimes. I'll do like affirmations every once in a while, but really there's not a whole lot else for that. Fun and recreation, I mean, I'm a homebody, so if I'm at home and I'm designing stickers, I usually have a show on. I'm usually listening to a podcast. I'm constantly consuming things that I enjoy, so I don't really find this like a struggle for me. And I also have a lot of time to myself, so I'm able to do self-care. I'm able to take care of myself if I feel worn out, take a nap, all of that stuff. So I feel like fun and recreation is probably like one of my highest categories. And really, I feel like anything I do in this is just like a bonus. It's not something that needs like all the attention. For work and learning, there are things that I can do to improve, but I really do like more separate goal setting at my job through our evaluation process. So I have little things that I can do here and there, but it's really not something that I put a lot of focus on like in my own goal setting process. I'm not necessarily focused on like climbing the ladder at this point. I'm pretty happy at the position I'm in. So that is kind of one of those categories that doesn't need a whole lot of focus. It's something that when I am at work and I'm doing work, I'll take steps to improve and I'll learn and all that kind of stuff, and I'll build relationships with my coworkers, but it's not something that really stresses me out outside of work, which I know I'm very, very grateful that I get to say that. So that's not like lost on me, that is actually a really nice and positive thing. Family and relationships, I feel like this is another category that is, I mean, anything that happens in here is a bonus. I feel like my relationships with my family are really, really great. And at this point in the year when I was setting these goals, really it was just kind of the same as the prior year, but a lot of stuff has changed in this category over the past month and a half or so, which I can talk about that in the future, but it kind of changes the way that this category is going to look for me in terms of how I set like weekly actions and all of that stuff. So a little bit different, but it still isn't for the negative. It's actually the changes that are occurring are definitely for the positive. So that's really good. And part of that is also growing in my marriage. And so that is also good for me. There's nothing super big in this category that I think is like demanding all my attention. So moving on to these four. These are my problem children. These are my big focuses. So health and wellness, I changed the spiritual and personal growth into Monarch plans, financial, and then physical environment. So health and wellness, it's always a struggle. You'll see on my compass assessment that this is like by far the lowest rated for me. It is always something that I'm struggling with. Sometimes it's better than others. When I was setting these goals, I was at a low point. January was like a very high point for me in this category, and then February and March went back down. So it shifts, it fluctuates, all that kind of stuff, but ultimately this is a huge focus for me, and it will be in quarter 2, quarter 3, everything going forward. Monarch plans, also a huge focus. I was really motivated at the beginning of the year, but like I said, my mentality, my negative thoughts really got in the way. So this didn't go too great in quarter 1, I would say, but it is something that now I'm refocusing on, and I have a few projects and everything I'm working on to hopefully improve some things. So I think that this is a really good category for me to focus on this upcoming quarter, especially content, being consistent, and then also just shop related things, just hoping to grow. For financial, again, it's always a focus for me. I always think that I can do better at managing finances. And so I just have some very basic goals in terms of like saving more money this year, paying off some debt, all of that. It always looks pretty much the same every single year, and we don't have any huge things that we're saving for at this point. But we do have things that we are spending some money on this year in terms of like vacations and just general expenses. So financial is always kind of a focus for us, even though there's nothing like big that is coming up in this category. And then physical environment, it's really just taking care of our house. We live in a relatively new house, but we've been in it now about 2 years. And so that just means that things aren't like breaking down, but just making sure that we're keeping up with maintenance. Things are still shiny and new, but they're like a little less shiny and new than they were last year. So we are just making sure that we're maintaining things, cleaning things, all of that stuff. And then maybe improving a couple of things in terms of redecorating, painting, doing some stuff with the backyard, all of that. There's just a lot of different things that we can do. So that is a focus for this category. So in general, I think that my annual goals are still pretty much the same, or they kind of outline still what I want to focus on in the second quarter. I just didn't make a lot of progress in the first quarter. So I think there are some tweaks here and there that I am doing for quarter 2. So I'm going to flip really quickly to the compass assessment that I did at the end of March. And that kind of shows you like where I started the year, and the previous numbers are all from, I would say, like December or November. So you can kind of see what my categories are. And if you can't really read these, this is like, this top one is the personal category, and then is the fun and recreation, work and learning, family and relationships, health and wellness. This one is Monarch plans. It's not spiritual and personal growth for me. Financial, and then physical environment. So before, my categories were, I mean, pretty good, but some of these have decreased. I think really, I don't know why I didn't do any rounding here, but they're pretty similar. There's not any huge changes. I would say my like hobbies, my fun and recreation definitely went up. And other than that, everything is really similar. Monarch plans went down a little bit. My health and everything, that one kind of stayed the same. So not a whole lot different. And so there's not anything that like sticks out at me as like a huge issue that like is absolutely demanding my attention. So I would say that I'm going to focus a little bit more on the ones with like the lower ratings. And so that is like health, Monarch, physical environment, and I could put finances in there, but I don't quite know exactly in the next couple months, or at least this quarter, what I would focus on that's really specific. So I think I'm going to really focus on these three, and then finances might be like over the summer and a little bit later in the year. So I think that gives you a good idea of kind of where I'm at currently in my goal setting and everything. Really, things look good. I'm just starting fresh this upcoming quarter. So I have on this page here just a brainstorm. I think one kind of downside of this planner, and I understand why they don't do it, but I wish there was more like mid-year or like quarterly goal refresh pages, whether or not it was just like a one spread that was just like a, you know, here's each of the categories again, if you want to change anything, any of that. So I made kind of my own with just some of the categories that I think I could have some quarterly goals in, but these definitely aren't just the three that I mentioned on the previous page. So for hobbies, I would like to read one or more book per month. That would just keep me on track with what I want to do with my annual goals, which is read 10 books this year. For work, I have a few things that need to get done this quarter, and so it's really not anything too big or different, just some tasks that I have to do to wrap up my busy season, projects that I have planned for the summer. I have my yearly evaluation, and then also going to the office pretty much one time a week is kind of what I'm trying to do, just to be present, talk to coworkers, get updated on things in the office, all of that. For family, and this is kind of the big change versus what was at the beginning of the year, is my dad is actually moving to Arizona. So that was not even on our radar at the beginning of the year. It wasn't even a thought we were having. So the fact that that happened pretty much in the last month and a half is a huge deal. So that means my dad will be now close enough for me to go visit. Like, I could go after work if I wanted, probably during the weekend, just to hang out with him and all of that stuff. So that is a huge change. He was like living very far away up in Washington versus I'm down in Arizona. So previously we have not been able to visit too often. It's been something where we have to plan like a vacation, a flight, flying him down here, anything like that. So it's going to be really nice to have him closer. So along with that is figuring out, you know, like, is there a certain schedule we want to follow? Do we want to have dinners on Sundays? What does that look like? It's definitely going to be some adjustment. And then also spending time with my husband's side of the family, his mom, his brother, all of that. So I want to make sure we're planning time with all of our family members and not alienating one side or the other. For health, I pretty much just want to get back to basics. So it's water, serving sizes for food, eating at home and not like getting fast food or dining out or getting takeout. Movement, and I just want it to be simple, whether it's just walks or doing stuff with Peloton, whatever that means. Definitely not putting any pressure on myself to do like an hour of workout. Even if it's just 10 minutes, I don't even care if it doesn't seem like it's making a difference. I just want to start moving a lot more. And then taking some vitamins and supplements because I'm in complete and total denial that I'm now in my 30s. So I think that it's important for me to start being a responsible adult and taking vitamins and supplements more regularly and not forgetting. So Monarch plans, content, really posting whatever I want. That was also something I mentioned in my video a couple weeks ago, was just not feeling pressured to post certain things because other people are saying so or it's trendy. And if I have something that I want to post, I'll post it. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be chasing likes, views, growth, all of that stuff. I really just want to have a creative outlet. And then my special project, which I'm not announcing at this point, but you will see by the end of May. I'll have some sneak peeks and some announcements going out about what this project is for my shop. Finances, just sorting out accounts and my paycheck and having things go into different accounts. I think now it's not an optimal division of where our money's going, so I'll be working on that and paying down some debt. That's always a focus, so it's not anything super unique to this quarter. And then home, really getting into a better routine of doing some daily tasks and some monthly maintenance and monthly tasks to keep our home just like brand new, operating smoothly, all of that stuff. And then finally, I just am really on a decluttering kick. So I've been through and I've done our garage. I've organized my clothes and done stuff in my closet. And I'm working on doing some other closets in our house just to kind of trim down some of the stuff we have and really just keep what's useful. So those are some of the bigger things I'm focusing on this quarter. And that means that for May monthly goals, I will also say, if you didn't know and you have a Laurel Denise planner, the little dividers that come with the Laurel Denise planner fit in the MakseLife, but just a side note. But for May goals, you see that I'm really kind of just focusing on the sections that I had something written in on that page. So you'll see that I want to read a book. I want to do a few of the things that need to happen in May specifically. So I have like my evaluation, I'm starting some new projects, moving dad, Mother's Day with my mother-in-law. And then really, like I mentioned, these are my main focuses. Financial, not as much, but it gets lumped in there with these that I kind of normally have to focus on. So like I said, breaking it down, water, which I'm not even forcing myself to have like 100 ounces. I'm literally telling myself like have 1 bottle of water. Because I swear, like I can go multiple days without having any plain water and I just don't even realize I'm not doing it. So that's just it should be a super easy thing to check off the list, but knowing me, it's gonna be a little tough. Eat 6 out of 7 meals at home during the week. And I mean like dinners, lunches I usually eat at home, so that's not too much of a concern. I want to set a morning routine, and that includes having some vitamins or supplements, getting a big bottle of water, like making myself my morning coffee, just getting into a routine that when I wake up, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, and it sets up my day for success. That's not really something I do, and I don't know why I don't do it. So I'm hoping I can have something like that practiced in May, and then if I need to refine it, I can throughout the rest of the quarter. And then have a 10 minutes of movement daily. So like I said, doesn't have to be an hour or even half an hour. I just want to get 10 minutes. So that can be a super easy walk. It can be a really short like stretching workout or something, or an arm workout on Peloton. It doesn't have to be anything big. Monarch plans, I'd love to have weekly videos and weekly posts on Instagram. I'm doing my secret projects, so that needs to be done this month. And then I have my shop anniversary, so I need to prepare for that. You may or may not see a sale happening at the end of the month to celebrate my anniversary for my shop, but you know, I'll just leave that there. Financial, I'll be hopefully getting a raise based on my evaluation at work. So I want to calculate that to see exactly what that's going to look like. Open enrollment is happening at work, and then paying down one of my cards that I used to make a bigger purchase recently. And then finally cleaning up the yard, cleaning out one of our closets, and then deep cleaning a few of the different rooms in our house throughout the month. That's pretty much it. So that is pretty much all I have. I'm feeling really motivated to get a lot of this stuff done, which is a lot better than I've been feeling the past few months. Past few months, I definitely haven't felt motivation like this. So I'm really excited to get some of these tackled. And I think that these are definitely doable and that my quarterly goals are also doable and also help me get to where I want to be at the end of the year, if that makes sense. So it's kind of my main focus. I just want to make sure that I'm making small steps every single month, but inevitably things change, things go up and down. My motivation, you know, grows and then it wanes. So it's just kind of that monthly kind of battle trying to figure out where should my time and focus be. And I think that this will be a really good month for making progress on some of those goals. So I'm hoping to come back every single month and do like at least a little bit of an update of where I ended up with my goals from the previous month and give you a little preview of what I am planning for the month coming up. So you'll see me again. I think I'll be back in June and I can give you a little rundown of how the month went and we can see what June's gonna look like. So anyways, if you have any questions or anything about goals or MakseLife or any of that, just let me know in the comments below, or you can email me or find me on Instagram. All of that information is down in the description box below. But anyways, that I think is it for this video. Thanks for sticking around, listening to me go through all my goals and all my thoughts. Hopefully it wasn't too long, but I really appreciate everyone who is supportive, watching these videos, tuning in, especially after my hiatus for a few months there. So anyways, thank you so much and I will talk to you later. Bye.